Commander Zextal stood before the holographic display, his scaled fingers tracing the outline of the blue planet before him. The sight brought a familiar thrill. The same excitement he felt before subjugating 17 other civilizations. But this time, something felt different. Earth, as the inhabitants called it, seemed almost too perfect a target. "Status report," he commanded, his secondary eyes scanning multiple data streams while his primary pair remained fixed on Earth. "Primitive space presence detected, Commander," his science officer, Velixa, reported with barely contained disdain. Their most advanced vehicles barely reached their own moon. No quantum shielding, no antimatter drives, not even basic gravitational manipulation. Zextal's mouth tentacles curled in amusement. "Show me their military capabilities." The hologram shifted, displaying various Earth vehicles, crude aircraft, basic waterborne vessels, and primitive ground units. The Kryvax bridge crew chittered in amusement. Their smallest scout ship packed more firepower than an entire human fleet. "Their most advanced weapons still rely on chemical propulsion," Velixa continued, her scales shifting to a smug purple. "They haven't even discovered plasma containment. Preliminary analysis suggests a level 2 civilization, barely worth our attention." But deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that didn't officially exist, Dr. Amanda Miller was about to prove just how wrong they were. "Sir, we have confirmation," she announced, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The quantum detection array, her life's work, had just proved its worth. 3 vessels, currently holding position behind Mars. Configuration matches none of our theoretical models. General Marcus Hayes leaned forward, his weathered face illuminated by the array of holographic displays. "Hostile intent." "Their formation suggests a standard attack vector," Amanda replied, pulling up comparative analytical models. "Based on their energy signatures, they're actively scanning our military installations." But she smiled. "They're only seeing what we want them to see." For decades, humanity had prepared for this moment. After the Roswell incident in 1947, world governments had secretly united under a single doctrine: appear weak until the perfect moment to strike. Every visible military installation was a carefully crafted decoy. Every public space program was a convincing show of primitive technology. The real advances, quantum shielding, dark matter weaponry, neural-linked defense systems, all remained hidden beneath a veneer of 20th century technology. "Deploy the QMC net," Hayes ordered, referring to the quantum masking curtain that made Earth's true defensive capabilities invisible to advanced scanning. "Let's give our visitors the show they're expecting." Across the globe, military commanders received the same alert. In Beijing, General Lee powered up the Eastern Defense Grid while maintaining its passive camouflage. In Moscow, Colonel Petrov activated the Ural's hidden missile complexes while they remained cloaked from alien detection. In Brussels, NATO's secret Space Defense Command began warming up orbital platforms disguised as communication satellites. Back on the Kryvax command ship, Zextal finalized his attack plan. 3 insertion points, he declared, highlighting locations on the holographic Earth. "We'll begin with their military installations, then their communication networks. Standard subjugation protocol." "Commander," Velixa interrupted, her scales shifting to a concerned blue. "I'm detecting some anomalies in the scanning data." "Explain." "Their technology level appears consistent, but—" She paused, mandibles clicking in confusion. "There are gaps in the energy readings." As if what, science officer?" "As if we're seeing exactly what we expect to see. Nothing more, nothing less." Zextal dismissed her concerns with a wave of his primary arm. "You're being paranoid, Velixa. These humans still use combustion engines and silicon-based computers. They're practically asking to be conquered." In her underground command center, Dr. Miller watched the alien ships begin their approach. She thought about all the years of preparation, all the technological advances humanity had carefully hidden away, waiting for this exact moment. "Let them come," she whispered, initiating the final phase of humanity's trap. Sometimes the best predator is the one that looks like prey. Colonel Jack Reynolds stood motionless before the massive holographic display in No Raid's Omega level, 5 miles beneath Cheyenne Mountain. Red dots marked the approaching Kryvax vessels, now passing the moon's orbit. His weathered face, illuminated by the blue glow of tactical displays, showed no emotion as he watched humanity's carefully laid trap unfold. "Sir," Lieutenant Sarah Parker called out, her fingers dancing across the neural interface console, "the aliens are broadcasting on all frequencies. They're demanding our surrender." Reynolds allowed himself a slight smile. "Are we recording it?" "Yes, sir. Dr. Miller's team is already analyzing their language patterns." The alien transmission echoed through the command center, a harsh series of clicks and whistles that the AI translation matrix was rapidly decoding. Reynolds remembered all the simulation drills, all the preparations for this moment. Humanity had learned from its own history. The greatest victories often came from appearing weaker than you were. "Status of Protocol Thermopylae?" he asked, his voice steady and calm. Major David Chen, head of Global Defense Networks, consulted his neural feed. "All systems nominal, sir. Quantum interference fields are masking our true capabilities. The Chinese orbital platform reports ready. European defense grid is green. Russian Deep Space Network is tracking all 3 vessels. And our guests. Still buying the act, sir. Their scans show exactly what we want them to see. Outdated missile silos, primitive radar installations, and conventional military bases. The QMC net is holding perfectly." In orbit, aboard the Kryvax command ship, Commander Zextal was growing increasingly frustrated. "Why aren't they responding?" he demanded, his scales shifting to an agitated red. "Where is the panic? The desperate pleas? The military mobilization?" Science Officer Velixis studied her readings with growing unease. "Commander, something isn't right. I'm detecting no significant electromagnetic surge from their communication networks, no mass population movements, no military responses. It's as if..." "As if what?" "As if they're not afraid at all." Back in NORAD, Reynolds received a priority neural ping from Dr. Miller. "Colonel, we've finished analyzing their weapon systems. Their main cannons operate on a quantum frequency we predicted in Wargame Scenario 47. Our interference fields will render them completely useless." Reynolds nodded, remembering the thousands of simulated first contact scenarios they'd run. "Time until they enter our primary defense envelope." 17 minutes, sir. They're positioning themselves for what appears to be a standard orbital bombardment pattern. Around the world, hidden defense installations hummed with silent energy. In the Gobi Desert, massive underground hangars housed quantum-shielded interceptors. Beneath the Antarctic ice, thermal lance arrays tracked the alien vessels. Throughout the Pacific, submerged platforms maintained their perfect camouflage, waiting for the signal. "Sir," Lieutenant Parker called out, "the aliens are launching scout drones. They appear to be targeting major population centers." Reynolds activated his neural command link, connecting with every major defense installation worldwide. "Remember your training," his voice echoed in command centers across the globe. "No response until they cross the line. Let them think their victory is assured." On the Kryvax ship, Zextal watched the scout drones' feeds with mounting confusion. The humans continued their daily activities, seemingly oblivious to the impending invasion. No air raid sirens, no emergency broadcasts, no military responses. "Perhaps their detection systems are even more primitive than we thought," he mused, but doubt had begun to creep into his voice. Velix's scales had shifted to the deep blue of serious concern. "Commander, I must insist, this behavior is unprecedented. Every species we've encountered has shown some sign of panic or resistance. This complete lack of response, it's not natural. Are you suggesting these primitives, who still use fossil fuels and ballistic weapons, have somehow outsmarted us?" Zextal's voice dripped with sarcasm. As if in answer, Dr. Miller's voice rang out in NORAD's command center. They've crossed the lunar defense line. Colonel, all systems are go. Reynolds straightened his uniform and opened a global command channel. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we've trained for. Let's show our visitors why you should never judge a book by its cover. He paused, allowing himself another small smile. Execute Protocol Thermopylae. Phase 1. And in that moment, as humanity's trap began to spring, the Kryvacs were about to learn a valuable lesson about appearances. Fire! Commander Zextal's order rang across the bridge with confident finality. Multiple beam weapons discharged from the Kryvacs vessels, lancing toward Earth's major military installations. The energy beams, capable of vaporizing entire cities, streaked through the atmosphere in brilliant purple arcs, and did absolutely nothing. Major Kate Thompson watched from the Pentagon's Alien Defense Center as the enemy weapons dissipated harmlessly against Earth's quantum interference field. Her team had spent 15 years developing this technology, and now she allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. Quantum dispersal at 100% efficiency, she reported, her neural link feeding her real-time data. Their weapons are operating exactly within our predicted frequencies. No leakage. No penetration. The Kryvacs bridge erupted in chaos. Impossible. Zextal roared, his scales flashing between red and black in rapid succession. Science officer, explain. Velx's claws flew across her console, running diagnostic after diagnostic. The beams are hitting something, Commander, but I can't. This doesn't make sense. There's no shield technology visible, no energy signature we can detect. It's as if the attacks are simply unraveling. Launch a full barrage, all ships, all weapons. In the Alien Defense Center, Major Thompson's neural feed lit up with new data. They're switching to their secondary weapon systems, sir. Particle beams, plasma torpedoes, and, interesting, something that looks like a gravity distortion weapon. General Hayes' voice came through the command channel. Time to show them trick number 2. Major Thompson, you have weapons free. Thompson's fingers danced across her neural interface as she activated Earth's countermeasures. Years of studying recovered alien technology had led to this moment. Initiating active defense protocols. Quantum inverters online. Gravity well projectors spinning up. The Kryvacs fleet's second attack met an even more spectacular fate. Particle beams reversed course mid-flight. Plasma torpedoes collapsed in on themselves, and gravity distortions scattered like soap bubbles in a storm. Now, Thompson commanded, let's return the favor. Hidden platforms across Earth's orbit shed their civilian satellite disguises. What had appeared to be weather and communication satellites revealed themselves as state-of-the-art weapon platforms. Panels slid away, revealing arrays of technology that the Kryvacs had believed impossible for humans to possess. On his ship, Zextal watched in growing horror as his tactical display lit up with thousands of new signatures. By the first nest. What are they? Velx's scales had gone completely white, the color of absolute terror in Kryvacs physiology. Commander, I'm detecting quantum manipulation technologies, dark matter containment fields. And, sir, they have weapons we've only theorized about. Impossible. They were primitive. We saw their technology level, their vehicles, their weapons, their deception, Velxa whispered. We saw exactly what they wanted us to see. Major Thompson's voice, translated perfectly into Kryvacs language, echoed through their ship's communication systems. Attention Kryvacs vessels. You are now witnessing a small demonstration of Earth's actual defensive capabilities. The primitives you thought you found. That was our camouflage. What you're seeing now. This is just our first line of defense. She paused for effect, knowing the psychological impact her next words would have. And we haven't even started to fight back yet. The first shot from Earth's defense grid struck the smallest Kryvacs vessel. It wasn't an explosion or a beam. Instead, a focused quantum field simply erased a perfect sphere from the ship's hull, as if that section of reality had never existed. Target their weapons first, Thompson ordered her global defense network. Let's show them what happens when you bring a plasma cannon to a quantum fight. In Narration, Colonel Reynolds watched the aliens panic with grim satisfaction. Dr. Miller, he called over the command channel. I believe it's time for Phase 2. Let's give our visitors something to really think about. As Earth's full defensive network came online, lighting up the sky with technologies the Kryvax had never imagined humans could possess, one thought ran through Commander Zexful's mind. They hadn't found an easy target. They'd walked straight into humanity's killing ground. The Kryvax ship screamed as it fell through Earth's atmosphere, trailing quantum fire across the Montana sky. Dr. James Harrison watched through polarized lenses as the vessel carved a 20-mile trench across the plains before coming to rest at the foot of the Rockies. Steam rose from its hull, but the ship was remarkably intact, exactly as planned. Deployment teams, move in, he ordered through his neural link. Within seconds, dozens of camouflaged vehicles emerged from underground hangars disguised as grain silos. To any orbital observers, it would look like primitive military vehicles responding to a crash. In reality, each vehicle contained some of the most advanced recovery and analysis equipment humanity had ever developed. Sir, his assistant, Dr. Rodriguez, called out, preliminary quantum scans show their primary core is still stable. We got lucky. Harrison allowed himself a small grin. Luck had nothing to do with it. Those quantum destabilizers were calibrated to bring down this ship without destroying what we wanted to study. Speaking of which, how long until our visitors arrive? The surviving Kryvax ships are still engaged with our orbital defenses. They haven't noticed their ship is largely intact. Inside the crashed vessel, emergency lights cast an eerie purple glow across twisted corridors. Harrison's team moved efficiently, their quantum-shielded suits protecting them from any residual radiation. Years of drilling with recovered alien tech had prepared them for this moment. Control, we've reached their engineering section, Harrison reported, his hands already working to interface with alien technology that the Kryvax would have sworn humans couldn't comprehend. Beginning primary analysis. Wait. He paused, staring at a familiar configuration. This is interesting. What do you see, Doctor? General Hayes' voice came through the neural link. Their quantum matrix. It's based on the same principles we discovered 30 years ago. They just took it in a different direction. Harrison's augmented vision analyzed the alien technology, his neural implants comparing it to Earth's databases. In some ways, their tech is actually less advanced than ours. They never had to hide their capabilities, so they never developed our level of efficiency. In orbit, the remaining Kryvax ships were discovering this truth the hard way. Their weapons, while impressive, relied on brute force and obvious power. Earth's defenses were subtle, precise, and devastatingly effective. Dr. Harrison, Dr. Rodriguez called out, her hands deep in an alien console. I think I found their tactical database. Their encryption is almost primitive compared to what we use. Harrison nodded, unsurprised. When you've been the biggest kid on the block for too long, you get sloppy. Download everything. And get me access to their propulsion system. I have a theory about their FTL drive. Within hours, the primitive humans had not only accessed the Kryvax ship's systems, but had begun improving upon them. Harrison's team discovered multiple inefficiencies in the alien technology, places where the Kryvax had relied on overwhelming power rather than elegant solutions. General Hayes, Harrison reported, 6 hours into the analysis. We've cracked their main systems. Their technology is impressive, but it's unrefined. They never had to develop the kind of subtle, efficient solutions we did. Our quantum masking technology is leagues ahead of anything they have. Can we use any of it? Better. Harrison's eyes gleamed with scientific excitement. We can improve it. Their raw power generation is remarkable, but their application is wasteful. Give my team 48 hours, and we'll have hybrid systems that combine their power with our precision. A junior technician rushed up, her neural feed flashing with urgency. "Dr. Harrison, we've found their communications array. It's still functional. And, sir, it's broadcasting." Harrison's smile turned predatory. "Perfect. Let's give their friends up there something to think about." He opened a channel to Major Thompson at the Defense Center. "Major, how would you like to add some Kryvax tech to our arsenal? I think it's time we showed them what happens when humans decide to improve on someone else's homework." As his team worked, Harrison reflected on humanity's unique strength. It wasn't just their ability to fight or defend. It was their drive to understand, improve, and adapt. The Kryvax had built their empire on power and fear. Humanity had built their defenses on innovation and efficiency. And now, those two approaches were about to collide in a way the Kryvax never could have predicted. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez stood before the quantum transmission array. Her neural implants synced with Earth's most advanced AI translation matrix. Behind her, dozens of screens displayed the ongoing space battle, the remaining Kryvax ships desperately trying to penetrate Earth's defenses with increasingly frantic tactics. "Translation matrix at 100%, she announced. "Ready to broadcast on their frequencies." Major Thompson's voice came through the command channel. "Dr. Harrison's team just uploaded the Kryvax tactical data. Perfect timing. Let's show them what we've learned." Rodriguez took a deep breath, knowing her next words would be heard by every Kryvax ship in the solar system. Initiating broadcast in 3, 2, 1. Her message, translated perfectly into the harsh clicks and whistles of Kryvax language, echoed through space. "Attention Kryvax vessels. We try to be nice. We let you approach. We let you scan. We let you think you had the advantage." She paused, letting the words sink in. "That ends now." On the Kryvax command ship, Commander Zextal's scales shifted to the pale yellow of confusion and fear as the human transmission came through. "Impossible," he whispered. "They couldn't have learned our language so quickly." The space around Earth suddenly bloomed with energy signatures as humanity's true orbital defense network revealed itself. What had appeared to be debris, defunct satellites, and space junk transformed into an interlocking web of defensive platforms. "Your scans showed you what we wanted you to see," Rodriguez continued, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's prepared response. "Now, let us show you what we really are." Major Thompson initiated the first sequence. 1,000 points of light emerged from Earth's dark side. Quantum-shielded fighters, each smaller than a car, but carrying enough firepower to match a Kryvax cruiser. They had been there all along, hidden by technology the aliens had never imagined possible. By the first nest, Velxa breathed, her tactical displays overwhelmed with new signatures. Their entire planet is a weapon. The quantum fighters moved with impossible precision, their formation shifting like schools of fish. Each one carried technology reverse-engineered from decades of studying alien crashes, refined and improved by human innovation. "Your first mistake," Rodriguez's transmission continued, "was assuming that primitive technology meant primitive minds. Your second mistake was giving us time to analyze your weapons." She allowed herself a small smile. "Your third mistake was surviving long enough to see what we learned." The fighters demonstrated this learning by firing weapons that perfectly mimicked Kryvax technology, but with human refinements. Beams of energy that shouldn't have been possible from such small craft sliced through Kryvax shields as if they were paper. "How?" Zextal demanded, watching his fleet's defenses crumble. "How did they hide all this?" In the Pentagon's command center, Thompson watched the aliens' confusion with satisfaction. "Launch Phase 2, she ordered. "Let's show them what Earth's gravity well generators can do." Massive installations hidden beneath Earth's oceans powered up, their combined effect creating localized gravity distortions that the Kryvax ships couldn't hope to resist. Their mighty vessels, each the size of a small city, were suddenly as maneuverable as bricks in a hurricane. "You came to our home," Rodriguez's transmission continued. Her voice now carried on waves of gravity itself, demonstrating even more hidden human capabilities. You thought us weak because we chose to appear so. Now you learn why predators hide their strength until the perfect moment to strike. The Kryvax ship's attempts at return fire were pathetic. Each beam, each projectile, each desperate attack was caught and dissolved by Earth's quantum interference fields, technology that Dr. Harrison's team had already improved upon using the crashed ship's data. We offer you one chance, Rodriguez concluded, her message clear and sharp. Surrender now, and we will show you the mercy you never intended to show us. Refuse. She let the sentence hang as another wave of quantum fighters emerged from hiding, their weapons charged and ready. In that moment, as Earth revealed its full military might, the Kryvax learned a lesson that would reshape their understanding of the galaxy. True power lies not in what you show, but in what you choose to hide until the perfect moment. Commander Zextel's bridge was bathed in red emergency lighting as warning klaxons screamed from every console. His mighty flagship, once the pride of the Kryvax fleet, now drifted helplessly in Earth's gravity well trap. The situation had deteriorated from an easy conquest to an absolute nightmare in mere hours. Velixa, he roared, watching another section of his ship's defenses fail. Give me options. The science officer's scales had gone completely white, her hands trembling as she worked her console. Commander, they're using our own technology against us, but better. Somehow they've already refined and improved upon our designs. Our shields are useless against their hybrid weapons. In No Raid's command center, Colonel Reynolds orchestrated humanity's coordinated assault. Holographic displays showed military assets from every major nation moving in perfect synchronization. Chinese quantum torpedoes, Russian gravity disruptors, European pulse cannons, and American phase shifters all working together in a deadly dance. Status report, Reynolds commanded, his neural link processing thousands of tactical updates per second. Major Chen's response was immediate. Chinese orbital platform reports successful containment of their secondary vessel. Russian Deep Space Network has their flagship pinned in the gravity well. European defense grid is preventing any emergency jumps to FTL. And our secret weapon. Dr. Harrison's team just finished the final calibrations. Ready on your command, sir. Reynolds allowed himself a grim smile. Initiate Operation Looking Glass. Aboard the Kryvax flagship, Zextal watched in horror as hundreds of small objects detached from Earth's orbital platforms. Each one was barely larger than a human fighter, but his sensors detected energy signatures that shouldn't have been possible from such small devices. What are they? He demanded. Velx's voice trembled. They're using our quantum mirror technology. But it's impossible. We only theorized about this application. The small devices synchronized their fields, creating a massive quantum mirror array around the Kryvax ships. Every weapon the aliens fired was caught in the field and reflected back at them, amplified by human improvements to the technology. This is impossible, Zextal whispered, watching his own weapons tear through his ship's hull. They're primitives. They're supposed to be primitives. Major Thompson's voice cut through their command channel again. Fun fact about humanity, Commander. We've spent most of our history fighting ourselves. Every weapon, every defense, every tactic you see today was refined through millennia of warfare. We didn't just learn to fight. We learned to revolutionize warfare itself. The quantum mirror array pulsed, and suddenly the Kryvax ships found themselves fighting distorted reflections of themselves. Their own technology, improved and wielded by human precision, was systematically dismantling their fleet. Multiple hull breaches. Velixa screamed as another reflected blast tore through their ship. Commander, we have to surrender. They're not just defeating us. They're teaching us a lesson. In the Pentagon, Major Thompson watched the aliens' desperate attempts to escape with clinical satisfaction. Colonel Reynolds, they're preparing for a suicide run. Shall we show them our last surprise? Execute at will, Major. Let's end this. The space around Earth rippled as humanity's final defense grid activated. Thousands of quantum nullification fields, hidden in what appeared to be debris and asteroid fields, created a web of dead zones where advanced technology simply stopped working. "Attention Krivax vessels." Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice transmitted across all frequencies. "You are now experiencing our quantum nullification technology. Your weapons are useless. Your engines are dead. Your choices are simple: surrender or float helplessly in space until your life support fails. We'll accept your answer in the next 30 seconds. Zextal, Supreme Commander of the mighty Krivax fleet, conqueror of 17 worlds, stood in his powerless bridge and finally understood. They hadn't found a primitive civilization ready for conquest. They'd found humanity, a species that had turned deception and warfare into an art form. "This is Commander Zextal of the Krivax Coalition," he transmitted, his voice heavy with defeat. We surrender to Earth's authority." Colonel Reynolds nodded to his command staff. "And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how humanity welcomes uninvited guests. Major Thompson, secure their vessels. Dr. Harrison's team will want to study them. After all, there's always room for improvement." Captain Michael Chen sat in the heart of the Quantum Cyber Command, his neural implants directly interfacing with Earth's most advanced AI systems. Before him, streams of alien code cascaded across holographic displays as the Krivax's final ship attempted to transmit a desperate warning to their homeworld. "They're trying to broadcast on all frequencies," he announced, fingers dancing through the air as he manipulated the quantum data streams. Pretty impressive encryption for a supposedly superior species. He allowed himself a small chuckle. "Amateur hour compared to what we deal with daily." Dr. Miller's voice came through his neural link. "Can you intercept it?" "Better." Chen's eyes gleamed with cybernetic augmentations as he worked. "I'm not just intercepting it. I'm rewriting it. Time to show the Krivax Empire what happens when you underestimate humanity's computational capabilities." The alien transmission, intended to be a warning of Earth's devastating defenses, was being transformed in real time. Chen's team had already cracked the Krivax's complete communication protocols thanks to Dr. Harrison's analysis of the crashed ship. "Adding visual data now," Chen reported. His neural interface processed the incoming feeds from Earth's defense platforms, compiling a highlight reel of the battle. "Let's show them exactly how their mighty fleet was dismantled by the primitives they thought would be easy prey." In the Krivax command ship's communication center, Veluxa watched in horror as her warning message was intercepted, dissected, and reconstructed before her eyes. "Commander," she called out, "they're not just blocking our transmission, they're editing it." The message that eventually reached the Krivax Empire was a masterpiece of psychological warfare. It began with crystal-clear footage of Earth's revealed defenses, showing how thoroughly the humans had hidden their true capabilities. Then came scenes of the battle, carefully edited to demonstrate humanity's technological superiority, while highlighting the Krivax fleet's increasingly desperate attempts to fight back. "Adding diplomatic package now," Chen announced, his cybernetic systems interfacing seamlessly with Lieutenant Rodriguez's linguistic databases. The modified transmission now included a formal greeting to the Krivax Empire, outlining terms for peaceful relations, backed by unmistakable evidence of Earth's ability to enforce those terms. "Show them the quantum mirror array," Dr. Miller suggested. "Let them see how we improved their own technology." Chen nodded, incorporating footage of the human-enhanced Krivax weapons being turned against their own ships. The message was clear. Not only could humanity defend itself, but it could also take alien technology and make it better. "Final touch," he said, adding the surrender recording. Commander Zextal's voice, heavy with defeat and revelation, would show the Empire exactly what happened to those who underestimated Earth. In orbit, the captured Krivax ships could only watch as their distress call was transformed into a diplomatic masterpiece. The message now concluded with an offer of peaceful cooperation and cultural exchange, along with subtle reminders of what happened to those who chose a less peaceful approach. "Transmission complete," Chen reported. "And, yes, we're getting confirmation. The Krivax Empire received it in full. Their quantum relays are lighting up like a Christmas tree. I'd say we've got their attention. Dr. Miller's voice carried a note of satisfaction. What are they saying? Chen's augmented vision processed the incoming alien communications. There's a lot of confusion. Some panic. Wait. He paused, focusing on a particular data stream. They're sending a priority response. The Empire's High Command is requesting immediate diplomatic contact. Are they now? Dr. Miller's tone was amused. I suppose having their best fleet dismantled by a primitive species has made them reconsider their approach to interstellar relations. They're specifically asking about our technological capabilities. Chen added, still monitoring the alien communications, particularly interested in how we managed to hide everything from their scans. Should I tell them that's not up for discussion? No, Miller replied after a moment's thought. Let them wonder. Sometimes, the possibility of what we might be hiding is more effective than any actual weapon. As Earth prepared for its first official contact with the Kryvax Empire, Chen couldn't help but smile at the irony. The aliens had come looking for an easy conquest and instead found themselves becoming a cautionary tale, a warning to any other species who might mistake humanity's outward appearance for weakness. Message sent, he whispered, watching the streams of alien communications light up with fear and respect. Loud and clear. 3 months after the failed invasion, Dr. Amanda Miller stood in Earth's new interstellar reception center, watching the approaching Kryvax diplomatic vessel through quantum-enhanced windows. The ship was significantly smaller than their warships had been, a deliberate choice that hadn't gone unnoticed by Earth's Defense Command. They're following the approach vector exactly as specified, Colonel Reynolds noted, standing beside her. His neural feed displayed real-time tracking data. No deviation whatsoever. I'd say they learned their lesson. Fear is a powerful teacher, Miller replied, adjusting her formal uniform. But it's not what we're after. Today we show them something even more impressive than our weapons, our capacity for peace. The diplomatic vessel was being escorted by a dozen of Earth's quantum fighters, their presence a subtle reminder of what happened to the last Kryvax ships that had visited. As they approached the landing zone, Dr. Harrison's voice came through the neural link. Final scans complete, he reported. They're running minimal weapon systems, purely defensive. And, he chuckled, they're using some of our improvements to their quantum shielding. They must have analyzed the battle footage thoroughly. Miller smiled. In just 3 months, the Kryvax had already started adopting human innovations. Impressive adaptation. Maybe there's hope for them yet. The ship landed with precise care, its hull gleaming under Earth's sun. The landing ramp extended, and the first official Kryvax diplomatic delegation emerged. Leading them was Supreme Diplomat Nexkar, their scales shifting through formal patterns of respect and cautious optimism. Welcome to Earth, Miller greeted them in perfect Kryvax, watching their mandibles click in surprise. I trust your journey was comfortable. Most illuminating, Nexkar responded, their translator unit active despite Miller's demonstration of their language. Our empire has many questions about your world, Dr. Miller. I'm sure you do. She gestured toward the conference room. Though I suspect you have even more questions about what you haven't seen yet. The delegation moved through the facility, their compound eyes taking in everything. Earth had deliberately designed the reception center to showcase a careful blend of technologies, advanced enough to command respect, but hinting at capabilities still hidden from view. Your victory over our fleet has caused quite a stir in the Empire, Nexkar commented as they walked. Many refuse to believe a world we classified as pre-quantum could have advanced so far without detection. Perhaps, Miller suggested, your classification system needs updating. Technological advancement isn't always visible. Sometimes, the most advanced civilizations are the ones wise enough to hide their strength. They entered the conference room, where representatives from every major Earth nation waited. The walls displayed real-time data from Earth's defense grid, now visible to alien eyes, but clearly only a fraction of the whole system. We've studied the footage of our defeat extensively, Nexcar admitted, settling into a specially designed chair. "Your ability to improve upon our technology in mere hours. It challenges everything we thought we knew about technological development." Captain Chen, monitoring the meeting through cybersecurity protocols, sent Miller a private mural message. "They're broadcasting everything back to their empire in real time. Good thing we prepared for that." Miller nodded slightly. Every piece of technology on display, every capability demonstrated, had been carefully chosen. The real advances, the true extent of human innovation, remained hidden, a lesson learned from millennia of human warfare. "Your empire has conquered 17 worlds," Miller stated, watching their scales shift uncomfortably at the mention. "We propose a different kind of relationship. Earth is offering membership in a new interstellar coalition, one based on mutual respect and shared innovation. And if we decline?" Nexcar asked, though their tone suggested they already knew the answer. Miller smiled diplomatically. "Then you'll leave here in peace, with the knowledge that Earth is better left as a friend than tested as an enemy." Again. As the negotiations proceeded, Miller reflected on how quickly the galaxy's dynamics had shifted. The Kryvax Empire, once proud conquerors, now sat at Earth's table as equals, or perhaps slightly less than equals. Their defeat had opened new possibilities, new paths for interstellar relations. Sometimes, she thought, watching the aliens struggle to gauge Earth's true capabilities, the best victory isn't in winning the fight, but in changing how your opponent thinks about fighting altogether. The age of humanity hiding in the shadows was over, but that didn't mean they would show all their cards. After all, there were probably other alien empires out there, and Earth's greatest strength had always been in keeping its enemies guessing.